Hello there, very good evening and welcome to the news tonight, where we get you the day's top stories. Here are the headlines. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley allays fears on the Indian economy, says India has been the fastest growing economy for the last 3 years and the government has a plan to sustain growth momentum. Rajasthan government refers the Criminal Laws Rajasthan Amendment Ordinance 2017 to the Select Committee 15-member panel headed by State Home Minister Gulab Chand Kataria to submit the report in the next session. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani holds talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj briefs him about the recent foreign ministers' level talks between the two countries. And Communist Party of China endorses the second 5-year term for President Xi Jinping. Party's 19th National Congress amends the constitution to include Xi's ideology of socialism with Chinese characteristics. Our top story, the central government has announced a slew of investments in banking and infrastructure sectors to boost the economy and create jobs. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley made the announcements at a press briefing in New Delhi. Addressing fears of a slowdown, Jaitley said that India has been the fastest growing economy in the past 3 years.
Allaying fears of a slowdown, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has asserted that India has been the fastest growing major economy for the last 3 years and that the government has its plans in place to sustain high growth in the coming years. Addressing a press conference in New Delhi on the state of the economy, the Finance Minister said the Indian economy is on a strong wicket with sound macroeconomic fundamentals.
पिछले 3 वर्षों से लगातार हिंदुस्तान दुनिया की सबसे तेजी से बढ़ने वाली बड़ी अर्थव्यवस्था रही है और हम लोगों का उद्देश्य ये है कि एक जो हाई ग्रोथ इकोनॉमी हिंदुस्तान बना है वो स्थिति हम लोगों की कायम रहे.
The Finance Minister also announced several big-ticket investments in infrastructure and banking sectors. He said that the government will infuse a massive capital of 2.11 lakh crore rupees into NPA-hit public sector banks over the next 2 years. Jaitley also said the capital infusion would be accompanied by a series of banking reforms which would be spelled out over the next few months.
Bold steps should be taken by the government to address this problem. और 2,11,000 crore, 2,11,000 crores is the capital which is intended to be now inducted further into the banks. This, of course, will be accompanied by a series of banking reforms, which we need not specify today, but you will hear from us in the course of the next few months.
The Finance Minister also said that major reforms may bring minor hiccups, but they will prove to be far more beneficial in the long term. The Finance Minister also hinted at a review of GST rates and slabs, while maintaining that GST has led to an increase in government revenue. The Cabinet also gave its go-ahead to the Bharatmala project, under which 34,800 kilometers of highways will be built across India at a cost of 7 lakh crore rupees. Panchanan Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the Rajasthan government on Tuesday referred the Criminal Laws Rajasthan Amendment Ordinance 2017 to a select committee of the Assembly. The bill seeks to protect public servants and judges from prosecution without its prior sanction. The 15-member select committee will be headed by State Home Minister Gulab Chand Kataria. It has been asked to submit its report in the next session. The bill was tabled in the Assembly by the State Home Minister on Monday to replace an ordinance promulgated on the 7th of September. The government says the law will allow officials to function without fear. It also bars the media from reporting on such accusations till the government sanctions it.
एक महाराष्ट्र ने जो अपना बिल पास किया उसमें 90 दिन की अवधि रखी थी, हमने इसको 180 दिन की रखी. ये दोनों अंतर मोटे रूप में 2 अंतर थे. महाराष्ट्र ने जो बिल पास किया उसको उन्होंने विधिवत राष्ट्रपति से स्वीकृति भी ले ली, उसको लागू भी कर दिया. उसको वहाँ हाईकोर्ट में चैलेंज जरूर हुआ, लेकिन उस पर कोई स्थगन नहीं है। एक तरह से वो अभी भी विचाराधीन पड़ा हुआ है और उनका कानून आज की तारीख में लागू है। इन दो विषयों पर विरोध आने के कारण से हमने सोचा कि क्यों नहीं हम इसको जो है वो सेलेक्ट कमेटी को सुपुर्द कर दें, ताकि इसके अतिरिक्त भी किसी विषय में अगर माननीय सदस्यों को कोई राय भिन्न होगी तो उसमें सभी दल के लोग रहते हैं, वो डिस्कशन करके जो राय देंगे उसके आधार पर हम आगे बढ़ेंगे।
पहले एक ऑर्डिनेंस लाके पूरे प्रदेश में लागू किया गया, फिर परिवर्तन कर उसको बिल के रूप में प्रस्तुत किया गया विधानसभा के अंदर कल। और मैं समझता हूं ये आज जो अखबार में मैंने पढ़ा है कि सरकार पुनर्विचार करेगी। अब ये बिल संपत्ति बन चुका है सदन की, तो सदन ही निर्णय लेगा इस पे क्या करना है। हम चाहते हैं बिल विड्रॉ हो। इस बिल का राजस्थान में कोई स्थान नहीं है, देश में कोई स्थान नहीं है। ये लोकतंत्र के खिलाफ है, मीडिया के खिलाफ है और पारदर्शिता की राजनीति के खिलाफ है।
We'll keep an eye on developments on that front. Meanwhile, Afghanistan President Ashraf Ghani arrived in New Delhi on Tuesday to hold talks on strengthening bilateral, strategic, defense and economic ties with India. Ghani, who is on a one-day working visit to India, also met External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj and President Ram Nath Kovind at Rashtrapati Bhavan.
Afghanistan President Ashraf Ghani on Tuesday met Prime Minister Narendra Modi to review the relations between the two countries. Ghani's talks focused on the efforts to combat the terrorism in Afghanistan, where the Taliban and other warring factions have stepped up terror attacks.
We can assure you that Afghan security forces will achieve what Colombia achieved under President Turabi. An environment where Afghan men and women, the citizens of our country that are bound by the rule of law and constitution, will be able to live in peace and in security.
Ghani, who held delegation-level and one-to-one talks with Modi, maintained that Pakistan's sponsorship to terrorism must stop for a lasting peace in Afghanistan. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj also called on Ghani to brief him about recent foreign ministers-level talks between the two countries in Delhi. Both countries reiterated their commitment on cooperation on terrorism and maintained that distinction will be made between good and bad terrorists.
But the response to terrorism is country-focused, not global, not regional. And because of that, the networks, transnational networks of terrorism are combining with transnational criminal economic organizations to pose a fundamental challenge.
President Ashraf Ghani's visit to India comes just days after US President Donald Trump announced his South Asia policy. Ghani also met President Ram Nath Kovind and both leaders exchanged their views on cooperation between the two countries.
India has committed to President Ghani that India will be providing necessary security apparatus to Afghanistan as it will be needed. Afghanistan President Ashraf Ghani said that Pakistan will get access to Central Asia only if Afghanistan gets access to India and vice versa. It is a new phase of relationship between India and Afghanistan. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Television with camera person Saroj in Delhi.
Home Minister Rajnath Singh today addressed the Jawans and officers at ITBP's 56th Raising Day. It's stating that the government is considering building 50 more ITBP posts along the India-China border. Rajnath Singh also said that the Indo-Tibetan Border Force is being trained specially to deal with the Chinese army during any possible standoff. He also said the supply of lightweight special clothing, which was restricted to personnel posted at a height of 11,000 feet and above, will now also be available for forces posted at a height of 9,000 feet and above.
बेसिक ट्रेनिंग में वो शामिल है कि उनको चाइनीज लैंग्वेज भी सिखाई जाती है। बाई चांस यदि कोई फेस ऑफ हो जाता है तो कम से कम बातचीत तो हो सके, अपना मैसेज तो कन्वे कर।
The NIA today arrested Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist Syed Salahuddin's son in connection with a 2011 terror funding case. Syed Shahid Yusuf, an employee with the Jammu and Kashmir government, was placed under arrest after the NIA summoned him to its Delhi headquarters. The case relates to the transfer of money from Pakistan to Jammu and Kashmir through Hawala channels via Delhi that was suspected to be used in funding terrorism. The NIA alleged that Shahid used to receive funds through international wire money transfer from an absconding accused who is presently based in Saudi Arabia. In more national news, Chief Election Commissioner A.K. Jyoti has rejected the opposition's charge that the poll panel is working under the pressure of the ruling party at the centre. In an interview with a news agency, the CEC said that the commission does not meddle in poll campaigning and asserted that no special preference is being given to any political party. He said the poll body has given equal opportunity to all political parties and has not directed any party to hold or not to hold their rallies in the state. He said that multiple factors including the weather came into play while deciding to hold elections in Himachal Pradesh earlier than Gujarat. He said that political parties and the state administration in Himachal had requested to conduct the polls before mid-November as there was the probability of snowfall in 3 districts of the hill state. The CEC asserted that the commission will plan the poll schedule in Gujarat in a way that the outcome of the Himachal Pradesh elections should not affect the voting in Gujarat. President Ramnath Kovind arrived in Bengaluru on a 2-day visit on Tuesday. Soon after his arrival, Kovind paid floral tributes to the founder of Bengaluru, Kempegowda, at NR Square. He also visited the Indian Institute of Science Laboratory and attended a roundtable discussion with scientists. It is his first visit to the state after assuming office as the president. On Wednesday, the president will address the joint session of the state legislature to mark the Diamond Jubilee celebrations of the Vidhan Sabha. Meanwhile, addressing the 4th ASEAN Defence Ministers meeting in Manila, Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has sought a probe into North Korea's nuclear proliferation linkages. In a veiled reference to Pakistan's links with Pyongyang, Sitharaman said that those responsible for North Korea's nuclear proliferation must be held accountable. On her first foreign visit since taking over the office, Sitharaman said that the nuclear and missile tests conducted by North Korea were in violation of its international commitments and have triggered serious concerns. She also stressed that India is concerned about the proliferation of nuclear and missile technologies, which has adversely impacted India's national security and that of the entire region. According to Western media reports, Pakistan had secretly supplied North Korea with nuclear enrichment technology when A.Q. Khan headed the country's nuclear program. Back home, opposition leaders today decided to observe the first anniversary of the demonetization as a black day across the country. An opposition coordination committee of 18 political parties took the decision together. They included the Congress, TMC, Samajwadi Party, BSP, DMK, Left and breakaway JDU faction, among others. The opposition parties will stage protests in every state on the 8th of November. Calling demonetization the scam of the century, Congress leader Ghulam Nabi Azad said that it was the most ill-conceived and hasty decision taken by any government. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, though, said that the opposition's call to observe November 8 as a black day shows their devotion towards cash economy.
सरकार में आने से पहले, सत्ता में आने से पहले 10 करोड़ न्यू एम्प्लॉयमेंट का प्रॉमिस किया था। 10 करोड़ तो न्यू एम्प्लॉयमेंट नहीं दी, लेकिन 10 करोड़ अनएम्प्लॉयड और कर दिए इस डिमोनेटाइजेशन की वजह से।
Here's a look at what else made news across the country today in Nationwide. The scrutiny of nominations for the Himachal Pradesh Assembly elections took place today. The process for nominations began on the 16th of October and ended on Monday, and a total of 476 nominations were filed. The last day for withdrawal of candidature is the 26th of October. The 68-member assembly will go to polls in a single phase on 9th of November, and the counting of votes will take place on December 18. The Supreme Court today ordered demolition of the parking lot around Taj Mahal. The Apex Court noted that as per the Archaeological Survey of India, the parking lot could be an environmental hazard. The NGT had even urged the state government to encourage plantation around the iconic monument. The government today waived off the penalty on delayed filing of initial GST returns for the months of August and September. In a tweet, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley said the decision to waive off the late fee on filing of GSTR 3B for the previous 2 months has been taken to facilitate taxpayers. He said that the late fee, which has been already charged to businesses, will be credited back to taxpayers' accounts. The government had earlier waived the late fee for delayed filing of the maiden returns for the month of July under the GST regime. Well, it was a breathtaking sight at the Lucknow-Agra Expressway today as Indian Air Force aircraft performed touch-and-go landings on a stretch of the highway. Over a dozen Air Force aircraft, including Mirage 2000 fighters and Sukhoi 30s, took part in the 3-hour-long exercise in Unnao district, about 65 kilometers from Lucknow. This is the first time a transport aircraft, a Super Hercules, which carried 200 commandos, landed on the expressway. The exercise was crucial as it showed that highways can be used as landing strips in a case of emergency. We are taking a quick break and leaving you with these visuals.
Harappan sites are a treasure trove of sophisticated pottery. These creations show tremendous advances by the potter's wheel. Creations like the perforated jar, the copper axe, the chisel and knives astound even present-day archaeologists. Figurines depicting yoga poses, chess pieces display a complexity unsurpassed even by later-day civilizations, all of which make the Harappan civilization truly unique.
The story we thought we knew. The story of magnificence. The story of bloody battles. Of those who ruled and those who left their footprints. The story charting the course of our past. Talking history on Rajya Sabha TV.
Hampi, the austere, grandiose site, was the capital of the last great Hindu kingdom of Vijayanagar. Enriched by the cotton and the spice trade, Hampi was one of the most beautiful cities of the medieval world. Its palaces and Dravidian temples were admired by Arab, Portuguese and Italian travelers. Built between 1336 to 1570 AD, the city was pillaged over a period of 6 months before being abandoned and is now one of the most striking ruins of the world.
Welcome back. Let's get you some more news now. And as part of his 5-nation tour, U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson met Pakistani Prime Minister Shahid Khaqan Abbasi and Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa in Islamabad today. Abbasi reconfirmed Pakistan's commitment to the war on terror, saying that his country produced results against Islamist militants. This is Tillerson's first visit after President Donald Trump unveiled his Pakistan, Afghanistan and South Asia policy, in which he hit out at Pakistan for providing safe havens to terrorists. Chinese President Xi Jinping's political thoughts have been written into the constitution of the Chinese Communist Party, giving him a place at par with Deng Xiaoping and Mao Zedong. The amendments to the party's charter were passed unanimously by some 2,300 delegates present at the 5-yearly meeting. Here are more details. The Communist Party of China has endorsed a second 5-year term for President Xi Jinping at the closing of its 19th National Congress. The party has also amended its constitution to enshrine Xi's name and ideology of socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era as one of its guiding principles. The move has elevated Xi Jinping at par with party founder Mao Zedong and his successor Deng Xiaoping.
这次大会做出的各项决策部署，取得的各项成果，必将对决胜全面建成小康社会。
The amendments to the party's constitution also included the party's absolute leadership over the military, fight against corruption, Xi's Belt and Road Development Initiative, and conferring the decisive role of market forces in resource allocation. In a report delivered to the CPC, Chinese President Xi Jinping said that preventing and diffusing financial risks are top priority in building a moderately prosperous society.
我理解这里边最主要的就是金融风险。这个总书记最近这5年在历史关于经济工作的决策部署当中都把防范风险这个作为一个重要内容来讲时刻在提醒。
At the closing session of the week-long event, the Communist Party of China has elected the 19th CPC Central Committee to lead the party for the coming 5 years. Elected by 2,336 delegates, the new CPC Central Committee includes 204 members and 172 alternate members. In a big push to Xi's Asia-Pacific agenda, the CPC has elected its special representative for India-China border talks, Yang Jiechi, to the powerful Central Committee. Former Chinese ambassador to India, Li Yucheng, is also among the 172 alternate members elected to the Central Committee. The party will announce its new standing committee on Wednesday. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. The United Nations Security Council will vote on Tuesday on whether to extend an international investigation of chemical weapons attack in Syria. Members of the Council will vote on a draft resolution that would allow the joint UN Organization for Prohibition of Chemical Weapons panel to continue for another year on its work of identifying who is behind the toxic gas attacks in Syria's 6-year war. Its mandate ends on the 18th of November. The measure is facing a possible veto from Russia, which wants to first see a report due on Thursday on a sarin gas attack in Khan Sheikhoun before deciding on the fate of the inquiry. Russia is also critical of the methodologies of both the investigations. More than 80 people were killed in the gas attack on the 4th of April, allegedly conducted by Syria's Air Force. We then look at some more updates from across the world in Global Buzz. The foster father of the missing 3-year-old Indian girl in the US was arrested and charged with first-degree felony injury to a child. This comes a day after the body of a small child was found in a culvert less than a kilometer from the family's home. Texas police said that Wesley Matthews was arrested after he changed his story about his adoptive daughter Sharon's disappearance. South Korea's foreign minister said that North Korea's nuclear activities were the most serious threat to the security of the international community. Yang Kyung-hwa made the comments in Paris after a 3-hour meeting with her French counterpart, Jean-Yves Le Drian, who described the state's nuclear capacity as a serious breach of the Non-Proliferation Treaty. Catalan President Carles Puigdemont attended a regularly scheduled cabinet meeting on Tuesday after Madrid said that it will impose direct rule on Catalonia. The Constitutional Court declared the Catalan independence move as illegal, and the Senate plans to vote on Friday to implement direct rule. The Catalan Parliament will meet on Thursday to agree on a response to Madrid. Hong Kong's highest court granted bail to 2 pro-democracy activists, Joshua Wong and Nathan Law, pending an appeal over their jail terms for unlawful assembly linked to the city's mass pro-democracy protests in 2014. Hong Kong's appeals court jailed Wong, Law and Alex Chow, leaders of the Chinese-ruled city's democracy movement, in August. They were granted bail at the Court of Final Appeal till the 7th of November. And finally, here are some updates from the world of sports in Sports Beat. Jeetu Rai and Hina Sidhu won their first gold medal of the ISSF World Cup final in New Delhi in the 10 meters air pistol mixed team event. The mixed team competitions were organized as test events in the World Cups held earlier this year, and the teams will be making their Olympic debut in the Tokyo 2020 Games. France secured the silver medal, while China settled for the bronze in the event. In tennis, Germany's Philipp Kohlschreiber and Alexander Zverev advanced to the second round of the Erste Bank Open in Vienna on Monday. Kohlschreiber beat American John Isner 7-6, 6-4, while Zverev beat Serbia's Viktor Troicki 6-3, 3-6, 6-4. Zverev is eyeing his sixth title of the season. Cristiano Ronaldo won the FIFA Male Player of the Year award for the second straight year, beating his regular rivals Lionel Messi and Neymar at the ceremony in London. The four-time Ballon d'Or award winner and the Real Madrid's Portugal striker helped Real to a Champions La Liga double in 2016-17. Lieke Martens of Barcelona and Netherlands won the Best Female Player of the Year, while Real Madrid's Zinedine Zidane was adjudged Best Male Coach and Netherlands' Sarina Wiegman the Best Female Coach.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
That's it on the news tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.